Welcome. It's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting coming to you on Saturday, August 23rd. It's 11:58 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I bet you thought I wasn't going to make it. Let me get my iPad up here and see if anybody joins me live. And I will try to watch comments. I'll get my quickie little commercials out of the way in just a second here. Make sure everything's set up all right. It looks like it. My desk isn't too bad tonight, is it? Kind of have stuff pushed off to the side, so it gives the illusion of cleanliness. So, quickie commercial. Stampin' Up! Through the end of August, so not too much longer. The 2025 to 2027 in color products are 15% off. If you go to my store and click on shop, shop by color, in the color you can find the in colors for 2025 to 2027. There is a lot of stuff that's on sale. So kits and ribbons and papers and blends and designer series paper, all kinds of stuff. My bonus this month is if you purchase $35 worth of product from me, so that's before tax and shipping, if you place that order before the end of the day on August 31st, and we kind of go, orders have to be in by mountain time, 11 p.m. mountain time, or midnight mountain time. I will gift you a full-size Stampin' Pad of the Cloud Cover ink. We are not allowed to sell this. Stampin' Up! Did not release it to customers because they weren't happy with how the color turned out. So only demonstrators could purchase them, and it was a as-is product. If we didn't like how the color shifted, we can't send it back. We're just stuck with them. But I ordered a handful of these so that I could share them with my customers if they wanted them. So I can't sell them, but I can gift them. So if you make that $35 purchase before the end of the month, you might be one of the first ones, because I'm only doing it for the first 5 or 6 people. You may get an ink pad. All right. So, a couple of other announcements. Stampin' Up! Is getting rid of the red rubber cling stamps. Don't worry. Photopolymer is awesome. It'll be a little bit of adjustment for people, but the mini catalog will still have some red rubber cling stamps in it. But effective November, with the online exclusive release, it will only be photopolymer. So at the end of the mini catalog run, any red rubber cling stamps will be going to the last chance list. They may not be reduced, but it will be until supplies, only as long as supplies last. Okay. With the red rubber stamps, the markers are also getting discontinued. Not the Stampin' Blends, not the alcohol blends. All right. These we're keeping because they do have that bullet point. And the majority of people, I think, are probably using the Stampin' Blends rather than the markers. So, red rubber cling stamps, markers, they're going. Okay. And Stampin' Up! Is changing the packaging. So, we are not going to be having these full stamp sets that or the stamp cases like a DVD would come in. We are going to the slimline plastic sleeves, but it's going to have just a simple tuck flap. So that's going to be really sweet. And the dies are going to have artwork. These will be the same size. So it's going to be easier to store your items that are bundled to keep things together. We'll have to figure out, how we're going to organize our things so that at a glance we can see things. But quite honestly, looking at the sides of my packages, I mean, it tells me the name, but those images are pretty small, and I'm having a hard time seeing some of those anyway. So this is a sneak peek at a new product that's coming out in November as an online exclusive. So that's going to be kind of fun that we see ahead of time already. So that's a little bit bigger picture of those images. And then here's just a peek at how the stamp sets are going to be. So they're going to be taller than what the current cases are, but they'll all have the artwork. They'll all be uniform in size, and that's going to be really nice. And then you probably can't see this, but it does show just the little tuck in there, so that's going to be really nice too. And then this is the catalog that's releasing in 11 more days. So tonight we're going to do kind of our second day of the 12 Days of Christmas, which I loosely referred to last night. So we're not going to follow the 12 Days of Christmas song as far as themes, but I am going to try to do a card tonight. We'll see how it goes. I did a couple of pieces ahead of time, but we are going to try a little fun fold. And this is a fun fold that my friend Wanda shared with me a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't tried it. And so I tried it quick tonight and thought, I don't know if I like this. So I modified it a little bit because that's what Late Night Lori does. All right. She changes things up. So we need 2 card base pieces. And I'm kind of going with greens today. Yesterday I went with garden green, real red, and basic beige as my Christmas traditional colors. Today we're going to go with a different shade of green. So this is Mossy Meadow, and I've got 4¼ by 5½. So you need 2 of these. You also need a piece of designer series paper that's 12 inches long, 5½ inches tall, 5¼ sorry, 5¼ because we want it to kind of fit in here. Let's make sure I cut that all right. Yes. So 5¼ because we're going to have a little bit of a border there. All right. So 12 inches by 5¼ and you want to watch your design. So we want the design to go landscaped, not portrait. All right. So if you have a design that makes a difference, make sure that the wide of it shows your landscaped or your panoramic view. All right. So with this piece, we are going to score it at 4 inches. All right. We're going to score it at 6 inches. And then I'm just going to turn this around so I don't have to take the arm out. And I'm going to score it at 4 inches. All right, and that's going to give us I'm going to take it so that the back side is looking at me, because I want, when I fold it on all of those score lines, to make my mountains and valleys. So it's either going to be a M or a W. But when I have it flat, I want the side that I don't want to see facing me. All right. This is the side I'm going to want to see. This is going to be the center of our card. All right. So basically you've got a 5¼ by 12. You're going to score it at 4. You're going to score it at 6. You're going to score it at 8. Or score it at 4 and 6 and then turn it and score it at 4 again. Whatever works for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish these. And we're just, because I didn't mock this up again, it's just kind of in my head with some of the pieces I've cut. We'll see how it turns out. So I want to make sure this is scored just a little bit crooked, or it looks like it might be cut a little bit crooked. I think we're just going to trim a little bit off of here because it might have been just a little bit crooked going through my trimmer. I just want to make sure the top is good. The side, the side will be able to adjust that easily enough. All right, so we've got 2 of these. I am using some of the Peace on Earth today. The first thing I'm using is the embossing folder. All right, so one of my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheets I ran through the embossing folder, and it runs it through this way. You can lay it this way, but we're doing it in portrait. All right, so I just put my paper in here. I didn't do a very good job at centering it, so I'm going to have my design nearest the top and just the blank space down at the bottom. It's not that critical for me that I wanted it more centered this way than up and down. So let's go ahead and set this out of the way. I use these dies to cut a couple of doves. These are going to be our partridges, or not. We'll see. I tried to do some blend work on my birds to make them look a little bit more like partridges, but I don't like how they turned out, so I'm not going to use those. But I have another idea as well, and we'll see how that goes. So I use those 2. We'll set those aside. They're going to go with our pears. And then on the big label die, I cut one of those because we're going to put Peace on Earth on here. And then the smaller label die, because you've got 2 of them, you've got 2 label dies, I cut 2 of those, and those are going to go inside our card. And I just remembered I need a base too. So I think what I should do is use my textured notes dies. I think we'll do that. All right, we'll do that when we get to that point. All right, so I'm just going to tuck those there so I don't forget about them. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side because I don't really need those anymore because I kind of prepped those items. All right, with the Peace on Earth, I also cut in Mossy Meadow some of that foliage strip. So we'll see. Just because I was at my die cutting machine, I wanted to cut them out and have them if I needed to. So here we're going to use Secret Sea, and we're going to stamp that Peace on Earth right now and get it done with. And I'm going to score that, or I'm going to stamp this near the top. And hopefully I'll have it pretty straight. Oh, good. Because I did not cut an extra one of those today. A lot of times I'll cut an extra one just in case I mess up. All right, so that part's done. That's really the only thing that I have planned to stamp right now. And we are going to go ahead and put that on here, but I'm going to put it on dimensionals. All right, so let's go ahead and grab some of those right away. And we can trim some of the, oh, I guess I have some more here. I'm just going to put one in the middle. I thought I was going to have to trim around my edges. And we'll get my Take Your Pick tool. Take those backings off, and we're going to go ahead and put this on. I'm gonna wait just a second. Let's go ahead and put this piece on. All right, so remember this was our 5 1/4 by 12. I want to make sure it's right side up. I'm gonna go ahead and put some multi-purpose liquid glue here, and I want it to go all the way to the edges. So make sure your paper is the side up that you want it on the inside so that it's not upside down. when you open it. And we're going to go ahead and affix this centered in our front piece here. So when my friend Wanda shared this fun fold with me, she had given me some measurements that were 4¼ by 11 instead of the 12 inches. And then, oops, when I opened it up, let me grab that one, see if I can find it. Yeah, so here's the one that she showed, the measurements that I had, unless I wrote them down wrong, but it was 11 inches, and then you would score it at every 2 3/4 mark, so that you've got it in 4 equal spots. But then I wasn't necessarily happy with my border, because my border is not even there. So that kind of was throwing me off a little bit. So that's why I did it the way I did it, with the 5 1/4 by 12, and then I scored it at 4, 6, and 8. All right, so let's go ahead and put glue on this other side, and we're going to attach it to the back of our card now. And this isn't going to take a lot of strain when it's opening because the paper is light, but I want to have enough glue on there so that it stays steady. And then we're going to go ahead and put this piece right on top of here. So I'm lining mine up kind of with the top and the sides, and I'm just matching up my cardstock pieces, okay? So here's our front, and then here's our inside now, okay? So just something a little bit different. And then now we can go ahead and put our piece on earth on here. And I wonder if I have some ribbon here. We might want to do some kind of bow on here. Let's see. If we do this, that would be kind of cute. Let's just add some tear and tape on there. Find the end here. We'll put a little bit of tear and tape down here. All right. So we'll go here on the lower half, kind of based on where I have my dimensionals. I'm kind of sticking to everything tonight. I don't know what's up with that. So tonight I'm only doing one card. So we've got the glitzy gold side, or we've got the mossy meadow side that has a little bit of glimmer through there, but I'm going to use the bright gold side because I just think that's the look I'm going for here. It's not super Christmassy, but it's got kind of a Christmas vibe. Hello, Vicky. Welcome. I am doing 11 more days until our mini catalog releases. So yesterday I made a comment about the 12 days of Christmas, so today is number 11. So I'm kind of doing another Christmas theme card. So that'll kind of go there. Now, what I thought about, my idea was kind of to put some partridges on here, but I couldn't get the coloring to work for me. So I have my pear and my little partridge here, my fake partridge. And I'm not sure if I want to use a big pear or if I want to use these little pears. And I'm almost thinking the little pears might be better. And I cut this out of the edge of the paper just because I didn't want to waste it. So we'll see. I may not use that on this card. I'm not sure. Vicki, were you here when I did the measurements and the fold on this? Because when I open it, it kind of fans out because these are two separate pieces of my cardstock. So basically a normal card base with the, instead of the score for the fold, I just split it. All right, so I think we're going to use our little pear here. We'll put this one here, and I can put a dimensional right there, and if it goes through the postal machines, it will still fit without creating extra bulk for more postage. So I'm just going to put this over. Whoops, I guess I have to take the backing off, don't I? I'm just going to put this along the edges so that those are kind of concealed. And let's make sure, yep, that'll work right there. So what I did here on the inside, so this is just the two that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I ran the top one through the embossing folder. That is the part of the bundle with the Peace on Earth, whatever that's called. So this is the Peaceful Greenery embossing folder. So that's what I did on the front because I wanted to jazz it up just a little bit. And then this inside piece is 5 1/4 by 12. And I scored it at 4, I scored it at 6, I scored it at 8. Make sure that when you cut your 12-inch piece that you have a directional design. If you're using a directional design, you want to make sure that it's landscaped or panoramic. Okay, so let's finish working on the front here, and we're going to do our little partridges here, our little fake partridges. What I thought I could do is try a little blending and just see how that looks. And here's a sheet I have from yesterday. So if I have this basic beige and just add a little pecan pie, it might look a little bit more like a partridge. I don't know. So we could put that on there. And then we'll see how this one looks. And I think I need to do just an itty bitty little dot. I'm going to use, I should just grab a journaling pen. I'm going to put a dot there for an eye. And a dot here for an eye. And we'll do a little blending brush here. And add some pecan pie so it looks a little more pigeonish. I'll have to practice my coloring skills to make it look more like a pigeon. I just don't have time. And then I think what I want to do is get something to do the beak. We'll do light calypso coral and just put a little couple of dots on here, and hopefully, let me get one of the scrappy ones that I threw away. And just check the color. Yeah, that'll work. So we'll just do a couple little dots because the alcohol will fill up the paper because it soaks in. We're just going to add a little bit of color to the beak. I kind of like that. That's kind of cute. Who knew? Who knew that would turn out like it did? All right, so this big pear, maybe I'll put inside somewhere. We'll see. All right. And then maybe we'll save this pigeon or dove for the inside, and we'll put this guy over here, I think. So let's put a dimensional on this wing, and we'll put some glue over here, and we'll just attach that. So it's really a pretty quick and easy card. And then this will just go here to be our partridge and a pear tree. All right, and then we have to add some sparkly dots, I think. We'll put one up here. So it looks like a tag. And I think that's all I'm going to do is that one. All right, so let's go to the inside. All right. So when you're folding your designer series paper, make sure that your mountains and valley are done so that you've got your big mountain on the inside of the side that you want to see. The side of the designer series paper you don't want to see, when you have it folded, you should be looking at it so that the good design is on the inside. I hope that makes sense. And I thought I would put these little labels here, and maybe we could put I don't know if I like that big pear on there. We might have to go with a little pear. Or maybe we don't put those on there at all. You'll have to let me know if you think we should put those on there somehow. But that's a lot of color in there, so we need to do something. So this one I'm going to trim down. And let's see if we want to do, I think we'll do this one. So let me get out Bossy Bessie quick. I love how compact this is, so I can put it in the cubby right under my crafting table here. Now, when I do any kind of square or rectangle die, I lead with a corner and I offset my plates. I offset my plates pretty much anytime, but when I'm doing a square with a corner to lead, see how easy that goes through? I didn't have to fight it at all. If you put it with that flat piece going through there, the rollers have to fight against that whole line instead of just adjusting for a corner, if that makes sense. All right. Now, something I thought we could do is use the piece that I cut my partridges out of, and we could do a little bit of blending on here. So let's do just a little bit. This is the pecan pie. You see the garden green on here, or the mossy meadow, I mean. All right, so there's a little dove on there. And then I'm going to do our partridge. We're pretending it's a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah, the white layer really, it tones down that paper quite a bit. All right, so that just kind of goes with the theme of the partridge in a pear tree. So let's go ahead and put that in here. And because the front is full size, we don't have to worry about lining this layer up, because it's going to line up wherever we put it, it'll be covered. So where are you from, Vicki? I know I've had a couple of Vickies on here. I'm not sure if you've popped in with me before, but welcome. Let's scooch this up because I want that centered. Just a little crooked, but with that liquid glue you've got some wiggle room, so that's good. All right, so there's that, and that does tone it down some. Now what we could do is, whoops, we could put these in here and do something on those. We could put our partridge, and we could cut out some more pears. What do you think? Is that too much? Or I could put another layer in here, but then we have to put something on it. I don't know what I would put on it. I suppose a series of sentiments would work. Oh, I know. I did my little foliage pieces. We could do some of those with our partridge. These are some garden green ones from yesterday. I don't think they're going to look. Washington State, Lake Stevens. So Washington State, you're Pacific time. So what is it, 10:30 by you? I'm in Wisconsin, so it's 12:30, 12:29 for me right now. All right, so let's see, what else do we need? The other thing that I had tried, let me get rid of this, is some of the designer series paper from the Perfectly Pears. I used the die from that set and I cut it out of my designer series paper. But I'm thinking that might be a little too wild with all of the other design. So I have a couple of other gals that are on the West Coast that follow me, and we've got some relatives in Arizona. So I can usually get our time zones in the US pretty good. All right, so what are we gonna do with these folks here? Maybe I should just put one in, and maybe I should put a big one in. I'm thinking that's what happens when we just craft on the fly. You just start putting stuff together and see what sticks, right? Let me go get another piece of white. I don't have a full-size one here. So let's cut that down and see how it looks. We'll run that through the embossing machine, and that one's going to be a little too short. So let me cut this down. And then we'll get that die out again. Oh, here's one of my pear dies. I don't want to lose that. And we'll do this again. So we'll just start laying stuff out until it works. Now last night I did 3 different cards, and I have those handy here. So I'll show you those when we're done. Plates. So what kind of crafter are you, Vicki? And I'm going to cut this down too. Paper crafting, variety crafting, Stampin' Up, whatever you find it. Hobby Lobbies or Michael's. Are you a demonstrator? So many questions, right? Yes, I'll be heading to bed right after this. Yep, fly by the seat of our pants. That's what I say quite a bit. Yeah, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants tonight. That is, you know, it just, you have to be creative then, because if you're not just copying things, you're actually creating things. I have found that when I started doing videos more often, I have used a lot more of my supplies, which is nice. All right, so this piece, if we put it here, if I'm going to stamp on here, I need to make sure I do it before I glue it on, because I've put all these things on. I have quite a few gals that do junk journaling, and that's not something I've ever done. I've seen it, so I'm aware of it, but not super familiar with it. So I kind of like that. And we can add some branches maybe. Maybe if we go like this. What do you think? Then we could put something in here. So we got peace on earth. Peace, love. We could do love on the inside. Let's get that here. So let's put this over here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my branch, get that on. So what do you do with the tea bags? Is that, you said you do the junk journaling art with it, and you're doing a tea bag series right now? How often do you go live? And what does it entail to do a tea bag series? Only because I've never done junk journaling, so I gotta learn the lingo. Tags and pop kits. All right, so basically the same thing, just in a different format. Cool. Very cool. You just have to do what works for you, you know? I think I want to put this one this way. And let's see where, we'll go down to here. We'll just stick that on there. I could have used adhesive sheets if I'd have planned ahead. I didn't plan ahead. And how often do you go live? Oops. All right, let's get a little block for this. And the mossy meadow. We'll put love up here. Hopefully it'll come in dark enough. It looks like I might need to re-ink my pad. I might need to get a new pad. I've had this one for a long time. Hopefully I can get this lined up. Just do it again. The beauty of the photopolymer stamps, right? Now it looks blurred. So I'm going to have to like force it to make it look like I wanted it that way. You know, I was just thinking earlier today about making paper. Tiny journal book. So you go on live on, oh, you go live twice a week. So Saturdays and Tuesday, 6 p.m. both days. That's cool. Yeah, junk journaling must be quite the thing. It seems like there's quite a few people that are junk journaling. I'm going to go get my mossy meadow marker. Yeah, and I'm just going to try to fill this in just a little bit where it didn't line up. There. Now it looks like I meant it to be that way. Mama Juju, you're here. There's another junk journal on. Oh, Vicky, do you already know Vicky or not? She was just telling me she goes live twice a week and does junk journaling. So we're just crafting on the fly again, Juju. So is Vicky part of your group? I don't remember if... So you stamp on your cards too, Vicky, for in your journals? That's cool. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to leave the center just like that. Mama Juju, we had thought about putting, or I had thought about putting some of these pieces inside, kind of like, you know, maybe wall decor if that's like old-fashioned wallpaper, but, oh, that's cool. Very good. But I think I kind of like it with just the paper in there. All right, and then this piece, I need to put some glue on here. Fibs. Trying to think what the acronym would be for that. We have Illinois is to the south of me, and they have a different, probably a different name. Friends in Box, nice. Yeah, the Illinois fib is a little bit different, so. All right, and then this one we're gonna put over here, just for kicks. All right. And then over here, I suppose I could put joy, because we've got peace on earth, love and joy, because we've got peace, love, and joy. So if I just did the joy off there, and I'm actually going to do a little surgery here. And I'm just going to cut this off. Again, the benefit of having photopolymer stamps is that you can do that. See if I can get this dark enough now. Peace, love, and joy. And that's that. I will save my other pears for some other projects. So these I'll hang on to. That came out of there. And I try to remind people, you gals, I'm sure, because you've been doing this long enough, you know, I don't waste the stuff that's on an edge of a page, because that can go, you know, on the edge of something here too. Teabag Queen, cool. So Vicky, what's your junk journaling name? Do you do that on YouTube or Facebook? I know I looked up Ginger the Cat Lady a couple of times and watched. You gals are like power crafters. I do it every day, but I don't do it for hours and hours like you gals seem to. I was out for hours and hours with my chickens today. They enjoyed being outside. It was such a nice day here. So now I'm just gonna put joy back where it belongs. All right. So this is our card. So Mama Juju, you missed all of this. I don't know if you're going to go back and watch the replay or not, but basically it's just a card base that I've cut in half instead of just four. So we've got 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, 2 of them. I used the, yes, what did I use? I used the Peaceful Greenery 3D embossing folder to do retro queen art. Okay, I'll have to write that down. I used the embossing folder to do just the front. I didn't do it on the back because who's going to look at the back, right? So let me just write this down. I'm I'm ready as fast as I can. All right. I'll try to look you up sometime. All right, so I used the embossing folder for the front. I used the dies. I used the big label die. Excuse me. And I used the doves on here to make my partridge, because we're doing a partridge in a pear tree, kind of with yesterday's 12 Days of Christmas comment. And then I used the sprig off of here to do the branches. And I couldn't get my coloring to how I liked it to make these look a little bit more like partridges. So I just did a little blending brush on there, and I used my cutout piece here to do a little blending brush work there. And then I flipped it so that my dove, my partridge, could go in opposite directions. All right. And that's it. So my designer series paper on the inside is 5 1/4 by 12, and I scored it at 4, 6, and 8. All right. So then just glue that to the front. When it's folded up, put some glue on it and smack on the back, and there you go. Retro Queen bee art. Okay, well, let me fix that. Get my pen. So 2 E's, so B. All right, bee art. Got it. I think I have it. All right. So, last night's cards, Vicki, because you weren't here. I don't think you were here, but we did some masking, decorative masks. So these were the 3 cards I did last night. And this was a stamp and then blending with 5 different masks, the embossing folder, and just the different Christmas colors. So tonight I thought I would continue kind of the Christmas theme, 11 days until our new catalog. So I think that's it. I think that's all I have. Any questions? Any comments? Like, give me a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. That helps spread my channel a little bit so I can share with even more people. When I use that mask too, it works really well tone on tone. So something to think about for another card for me. And Mama Juju, the idea for this card came from my friend Wanda, and she had given me some different measurements. So she had told me 4 1/4 by 11, and then scored at 2 3/4 increments. But I wasn't really happy with how it looked on the inside. So I kind of modified my adjustments a little bit. And this is what we ended up with. So, all right, ladies, you have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your night. Mama Juju, are you in Alabama? Is that, am I remembering that right? I know you're in the South. And then Vicky's out in Washington State, so Mississippi. I think I said Mississippi and Alabama last time, and Mississippi was my choice, and tonight I'm just off, so it's late. It's almost 1 o'clock for me, but it's, oh, we're actually on the same time zone, aren't we, Mama Juju? I'm thinking either that or it might be almost 2 by you. But anyway, thanks for popping in, ladies. I appreciate the company. And until next time, Central. All right, so you're at almost 1 o'clock also. So enjoy the rest of your day since we're now on Sunday, August 24th. So thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Until next time, happy crafting.